In this video, we are going to use graphic methods to solve all types of equations. We will firstly look at the fundamental understanding of equations. So what is an equation? Then, equation of two functions and the solution. After that, we are going to use technology to solve all types of equations very quickly and precisely. Then we explore no solution equations and infinite numbers of solutions in equations. We will then apply the technique, the knowledge into senior contexts. Finally, we will look at the limitation and recommendation of using this technique. Equation is like a balance. And on the left-hand side equals the right-hand side. And on the right-hand side, if we know a heart is 2, then we have 6 here, 3 lots of 2, and then we have a 2 here. So the trapezium must be 4 to achieve the balance. So this is a fundamental understanding of an equation. Now we have two functions, f(x) and g(x). f(x) is in red and g(x) is in blue. f(x) is a linear equation, linear function, and g(x) is a constant function. You can see that f(x) and g(x) are different. They are of different functions, so they are not equal, but there is a point where f(x) equals g(x). So at that very point, that is a solution of f(x) equals g(x), make that two functions equal. The graph tells us that x is -1 is the solution. When x is -1, f(x) is 3, which is the left-hand side. When x is -1, because g(x) is a constant function, so it's always 3. So left-hand side equals right-hand side, and the equation true. A more familiar form of linear equation is pretty much like this, where g(x) is 0, and it is still a constant function, which means it always 0. And there is only one point where f(x) equals g(x), which is the solution of this equation. In linear equation 3, the left-hand side is still a linear equation, linear function, which is the red line. The blue line is a constant function, which is 10, and the solution is 5.455. In linear equation 4, we have f(x), the red color, which is a reciprocal function. And then we have the blue color, which is a constant function. Then the solution is 0.422. Just don't get confused with the form. And this is also the form that most students got stuck. And for this one, we can always use cross multiplication to convert this, to manipulate the equation to make it in a more familiar form. So 5 times by 9x minus 1 equals 2 times by 7. And then we can solve that from here. For quadratic equations, we have two solutions. For this one, we have x is -3 or x is -1. For this one, it looks like a linear equation, but it is actually a quadratic equation. And we have two solutions according to this graph. If we want to solve them without using the graph, we can firstly, there is a hidden condition of the domain. X is not 0. and then we multiply by x for both sides. So left hand side we have x squared, and then right hand side we have 5x plus 3, and then we can turn the right hand side to be the left. So x squared minus 5x minus 3 equals 0, and then we can solve from here. Or we can just, without doing any manipulation of the equation, get the precise solution from here, from the graph. For trigonometric equations like this, we can say that when the domain is from 0 to 2 pi, and we have two solutions, which is 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. However, for the equation like this, like the one before, if there is no condition for the domain, then we have infinite number of solutions, and the solution has a pattern. Then we can organize all the solutions as x equals 2n pi plus 2 pi over 3, or x equals 2n pi plus 4 pi over 3, where n is an integer. Now, let's look at this picture. If the equation represents a balance, where the blue color and the red color represents different type of concrete objects, and we know that for any objects there is a mass. The mass can't be 0. So is it possible that the equation can be balanced, can be true? Of course not. In this case, we will say that there is no solution. Let me translate the previous picture into two functions. The left-hand side is 2x plus 3, and the right-hand side, which is the blue line, is 2x plus 5. And we can say that there is no intersection between the two linear functions, which means there is no solution. There is no point to make the equation true. So this is an example of no solution linear equation. Now, I would like you to pause this video and to have a go with the task. First one, when linear equation has no solution. So my hint is think about parallel and gradient. The second, make up another no solution linear equation and use graphs to check. This is a screenshot of the solution of a quadratic equation, where the quadratic formula, the technique, is used to solve this equation. And we found that there is no solution. Rather than using quadratic formula to do lots of calculation and found that there is no solution, you can use the graph. And because it is clear that there is no point that the two functions, the red color and blue color, intersect, so there is no solution. Now again, I would like you to pause and think about the task. What constant number of gx, so now gx is 0, but what constant number can make this quadratic equation has solutions and has just one solution? Now I have another task for you. Use above two screenshots to make two quadratic equations which have no real solutions. And then you use any methods, traditional methods, or the quadratic formula to prove that it has no real solution. Again, for an equation like this, because there is no intersections, so there is no solution for this equation. Now let's look at infinite solutions. So the three equations has infinite numbers of solutions. For the first one, you can see that the red function is exactly the same as the blue functions. If we set up an equation, that means f of x is gx. So the two functions, when the two functions are equal, which means any given value, real value of x is a solution. From the graph, you can see that the two functions overlap. This also means that the f(x) can be rearranged into gx. The same as the second and the third equations, because they are just different form of equivalent expressions. Now I'm going to very quickly go through simultaneous equations because this is not the focus for this session and for this course. For specialist maths, we prefer to use 2x2 or 3x3 matrix to solve simultaneous equations. So for simultaneous equation 1, basically we can see that the red color and the blue color has one intersect. That is a pair of solution. So it has x, so x is 1 and at the same time y is 4 is the solution. For equation 2 and 3, they have two pairs of solutions. Now I would like you to pause this video and spend some time to consolidate your learning and use graphs to find the value of x to make the equations true. Now let's look at the application in senior context. This is a screenshot of one of my students' work, and you can see that these students have great knowledge in senior content. And this student has established the correct equation. Just get stuck in solving that equation. And it is a very common issue for, especially when fraction is involved. While I would say it is still important that everyone should be able to solve the equation without using calculator, but by using the graphic calculator, you can allow yourself to move forward and to catch up with the, keep up with the learning, and then you still need to spend time to gradually build your skill in middle school math. So from the equation, from the graph, we can see that the solution is 12. This is another vector in the plane application. If the two vectors are perpendicular, this means we can set up an equation where the dot multiplication is 0. Then we can turn that into a quadratic equation. Then we can solve that. However, some students couldn't or have issues in solving quadratic equation, or they spend a lot of time in completing it, or they get always make human error. But if you put that into graphic calculator, you can very quickly get the solution that x is -3 or x is 0.667. However, if you want to be successful, you still need to get the skill of solving quadratic equation. And the method I present you today is just to let you move forward. Now, for solving geometric sequence question, just a bit of background knowledge. A geometric sequence has common ratio, and then we can use this piece of information to set up an equation. Here is the equation. I wouldn't be bothered to rearrange this equation to simplify it. I'll just simply put them into graphic calculator. And from here, I can see that k is 2, which is the solution of this question. Now let's look at the limitations. The first limitation is that not all linear equations can be solved in this way. So for equation like this, yes, of course, I can be lazy. I can just, without doing any manipulation of the equation, simply put them into the graphic calculator, and I can see that the solution is here. However, not all of them can be put that into calculator if this is not a constant number 5 and this is not 8. If we do not know the value of t, we do not know the value of the small letter t, and we do not know c. C is a constant. That means here can be 5, 8, 10, can be any number here. And then we can use the graphic calculator to solve problem like this. This is two screenshots of two students' work. Both of them have great understanding of senior knowledge, senior context, but they just could not carry out the calculation because of basic algebraic fraction skills. Now here is a correct one. And this is stage 2 specialist math. For senior maths, sometimes it looks like very fancy. It looks like a Big Bang theory, but it's really not. From my experience, my students usually have very good understanding of the senior content. The reason why they couldn't solve the question is usually because of the middle school math. So I don't think you will have problem up to here. And if you have issues in solving algebraic equations, you may get caught at this here, and you may get caught here in the box, and then here. That's where people get stuck. Another limitation is that this method can be time consuming, especially when you are solving some of the linear equations and apparently factorizable quadratic equations. It would be much faster you solve without using calculator. And also, if you rely on this graphic calculator in solving quadratic equations, you lost your chance to practice the factorization of quadratic equations, which is also essential skills for other senior context. Now, my recommendation is that use this method through SACE proven devices rather than the online graphic calculator. The reason I use the Desmos graphic calculator is quicker for me. It's better for me to make screenshot and present to you. But you cannot, of course, you cannot use a computer during your examination. So you need to be very familiarized with your device, the one that you can carry to the examination and all the set. The second recommendation is that use this method to access senior content while having issue with solving equations.
So this method allow people who couldn't solve or have issues with middle school math can access methods or specialist math, and you can move forward and you can build your confidence and build your skills in other part of the senior math. But it's really important that you do spend time to catch up with your the middle school math skills, the basic skills like solving equations and algebra. And finally, use this method for self-checking. Even though people who are confident in solving complicated quadratic equations, but everybody make human error, and you can very quickly check whether you have made errors. Thank you very much for watching this video.